British troops broke into the White House and found it empty except for a table set with food prepared by Dolley Madison. They sat down, they ate the dinner, and then they set fire to the place. We'll talk about that and more fun White House facts as I sketch this little building. So let's just turn the page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning. My glasses are dirty. It's 5:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning, and at 5:30 in the morning on Sunday mornings, when I can see properly, I like to pull a random object out of the Random Object Randomogrifier toy out of the toy box and draw it and talk about it. And today's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is the White House. This is part of the Safari U.S. Capitals collection, U.S. government collection. Got a lot of neat things in the U.S. government collection. They've got the Statue of Liberty. They've got an American flag. They have the Capitol building. They have the Lincoln Memorial, and they have the White House. So here we are today doing the White House. White House was built in 1799. George Washington picked the location for the White House, but didn't get to live in it. He's the only president that didn't live in the White House. Every president after him, of course, starting with who was it Buchanan? No, it was Adams. John and Abigail Adams were the first presidential couple to live in the White House. The White House has the unfortunate controversy of being built by enslaved peoples, but you can't really judge that by today's vision, by today's morality, because that's just how things were done back then. It doesn't make it right, it's just how things were done back then. But it's interesting because they listed, I'm sorry, what? No, I'm not frozen. It's interesting they managed to list all of the enslaved people that built it the first time, but they didn't list all the enslaved people that worked on it the second time, because, as I said, it was burnt down in 1814. The British burned it down in 1814 in retaliation for our attack on York, on Ontario, in 1813. They attacked the Capitol and they burnt down the White House. They broke in, they found it empty, except they found a meal that had been prepared by Dolley Madison, which is how I opened. They found a meal prepared by Dolley Madison, and they sat down and they ate the meal. They used the White House cutlery, and then they they ransacked the place, looted it, and left, and burnt it down. What's that? Pleasant visitors. Nice guess. Good morning, Ivy. Good morning, Rick. Is Pamela sleeping in? Ivy said, I just heard yesterday of a package that was supposed to be delivered to Indiana in March. It finally arrived yesterday and mistakenly sent the package to India. We have absolutely nothing. What are we talking about?
Nothing she knows random.
Oh.
But they have nothing in common with India. It's not named after one, but underneath.
Oh.
Here's Joe.
Morning, Joe.
He says, is this where the song Burning Down the Whitehouse came from?
Is there a song called Burning Down the White House? You got me on that one. I'm not hip to the music that you kids listen to these days. Burning down the house. I don't know if there was a song about it or not.
There he is.
I'm not hip to the music that you kids listen to these days.
It's done by Talking Kids.
Yeah.
The original song is by the Dice. I've never heard of these people.
Perspective. If I slow down and I take my time and I break out a ruler, perspective can be a lot of fun. But when I sit here trying to freehand perspective, all I can see are the angles that I know I got wrong. And then you overcompensate and you start getting weird lines. Like all the vertical lines should be vertical to the page. There shouldn't be any slope to the vertical lines whatsoever. And yet I find myself trying to slope them. Probably because my model is tilted just a little bit on the stage. And it doesn't help that my model is so small that the perspective doesn't really come into play, except for all the way you make a three-dimensional square. You know, when you draw a square, you draw a box, and you do all this stuff. I probably could have started with that, but this model has a lot of greeblies on it. We're going to get essence of windows is what we're going to get here. There are 4 windows on this side, 4 windows on that side. So the building is 168 foot long, which is roughly about 6.5 orca whales. Anything metric. It has 55,000 square feet of living space inside of it. And that's a lot of space to dust. I cannot imagine. My house is 2,800 square feet. And I can't imagine having to dust that much house.
How many bananas would that be in length?
Well, let's see. If it's 168 feet long, and a foot is 1.5 bananas, so it's 168 times a foot and a half. $150 plus 90 would be 240. 247. That about right? Why you make me do math in the morning, Joe? I thought you'd be happy knowing how many orca whales it was. So they rebuilt it in 1817, but from 1817 until 1952, all they did was patch it up. As stuff happened to it, they just patched it up. They completely rebuilt. They had to completely rebuild it in 1817 because when the British burnt it down, it burnt all the way. The only thing that left was the foundation, some of the exterior walls. The only thing that stopped it from burning completely to the ground was a rainstorm, a freak rainstorm, and a tornado.
Yeah, below the artist.
Hey, Luffy Artist. Good morning. How are you? Got a lot of pencil marks on here to get confused by. Have to be careful not to let the stray marks confuse me. See right there, I just almost got that one confused again. Same thing happened to me when I was doing the Lincoln Memorial. I had a perspective line that was out of whack. I got confused by it. Like I said, it's easy to do with a ruler, but it's a little more difficult, especially as crazy as my brain is. A little more difficult to freehand it for me. At least there's not a lot of ellipses. Where were we? Everything that went wrong with it from 1817 until 1952, they just kind of patched up. And then in 1952, let's see, was it Roosevelt? No. Truman's daughter was upstairs playing piano, and a piano leg fell through the floor, and he had it gutted and rebuilt and reinforced. Had all of the floors reinforced. They put a third story on it and a metal roof. I think that was Roosevelt to put the metal roof on it. But when they put the metal roof on it, the foundation was never intended to hold that much weight, and so things started collapsing. And in 1952, one of the piano legs, like I said, one of the piano legs fell through the floor. And I can only imagine how frightening that must have been for the daughter that was playing piano when it happened to her. To think that the whole building might just be collapsing underneath her. So he had Truman had the whole White House gutted and rebuilt on the inside at the cost of about $5.5 million.
What year did you say?
52.
Just think what it costs now.
I'm not sure if that $5.5 million was today's money or then money. Sometimes articles automatically adjust for today's money.
Yeah, but if you did the entire interior, I would think it'd be more than
Today, absolutely. It's a 55,000 square foot building. I would absolutely think it would cost more than that today. There's a lot of lines on this thing that give it the look of what we expect to see when we see the White House. They didn't call it the White House. I mean, it wasn't officially called the White House until 1901. That was Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt officially named it the White House. They were calling it the White House. People were generally calling it the White House. But it wasn't the official name until 1901. Teddy Roosevelt issued an executive order naming it the White House. Put essence of windows over here on this side. Not so much detail on that side.
How many bananas in volume? It says 160 million bananas according to ChatGPT.
That's a lot of bananas. That whole conversation is bananas. It's the only head of state building open to the public in the U.S. When I read that in the article, they were adamant to say that it was the only head of state building that was open to the public. But I think the palace in England is also open to the public. So it can't be the only head of state house that's open to the public, unless they don't consider the palace to be the head of state in England. If instead they have a home for a house for the prime minister, and that house may not be open to the public, and then in that case it's possible that the White House is the only head of state house that is open to the public. But you can't just show up and go in. You have to make arrangements with your Congress critter. No. Was the ballroom attached to the house? I don't remember if the ballroom if it was attached. I thought the ballroom was a structure right off at this side of the house. I don't know, but it's interesting because one of the questions I asked was if all of the modifications that were made throughout the years, if they got congressional approval for all of the modifications that were made throughout the years. And it turns out that on the big ones, like the $5.5 million one, they had to get congressional approval because they paid for it with state funds, and Congress has to approve that. But there were some improvements that were made along the way, like the swimming pool and other stuff that was added, that they just funded through donations, that they did not go through Congress. And so it's kind of a precedent was set to go through Congress for some things, but then on other things the precedent was absolutely not. We're not absolutely not asking Congress for anything. This is the president's residence, and so because it's the president's residence, it's a sticky wicket. You know, who can tell you what modifications to make to your home, right? You're required to live there because of the security that's provided to you.
It's on the east side.
Which side are we looking at? I thought it was on. I think that's on this side of the White House, though.
It's if you're looking at this picture's round side. If you're looking, say you're looking. If you pretend that your model is what is the round side, it would be on the right hand side.
It would be on this side of the round side. So turn the house. So you turn the house around. Oh no! If it's on the right hand side of the round side, you turn the house around. Yeah, it's over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have that settled. This is my favorite part of the process. I probably never told you guys this before. To me, this is the part that gives the whole thing shape, dimension. Up until now, it's just lines on a page, but once you start doing this, it becomes a three-dimensional object. I just love this part. How are those shadows in the windows? There's shadows inside the shadow on the windows. I think I have to do that first and then let that set up and then come back and do it again. Joe, thanks for stopping by, man. I really appreciate it. Really do. this whole side in shade. Like that. My water pen is not flowing and it's trying to pick up darker ink, darker paint, and I don't want it to pick up darker paint. I just want essence of paint right now. All right, let me dry this, because now the trick is going to be make it white. Let me dry this real quick. There, brand new paper towel. Can't have you worrying about my paper towel. I'm a man. All I can think about is I'm wasting paper. Because when it dries, its only purpose is to blot the pen. In the chat, they were worried about my paper towel being too dirty. That I might need a new paper towel. I'm adding a little bit of blue to this. If you want to make something appear more white, add just a touch of blue to it. And then to make that blue pop, we're going to put a little vermilion around it. And that'll make all of the white really stand out. When you do that, be sure and go over the shadows. Otherwise it'll look like the shadows are part of the building if you don't add the warmth to the shadows. But it will make all the white pop.
Really in grass.
Yeah, there's no grass. You know, and I got to tell you, when I was doing it, I thought, do I put the shrubberies around it? Do I put the landscaping? But it's a toy. There are flaws in the toy. For instance, this is a solid piece in the front. It doesn't carve in. You should be able to look through the front and see over there, but you can't because it's a toy. And my mind wants to do it should be a lot longer too. Somebody really goofed up with that perspective. I bet I can kick him from where I'm sitting. but don't want to overwork it. It's real easy. It's real easy to overwork it. It's just meant to be a quick sketch, quick morning sketch. And we are out of time, so we're not out of time. I don't have anywhere to be. Only thing I want to do after this is go get a apple fritter and then go have lunch with my mom. But let me dry it and then we'll ink it. Did you post a picture of a frog fossil? Did you send it to me in Facebook or something? Pamela's in the chat saying that asking me if I saw the frog fossil she did. Yesterday I took a break from the interwebs. I can't seem to pick up my phone without spending 5 hours on Instagram. And so yesterday I made it a point to take a break from the internet.
Rick said he sketched the Whitehouse along with you this morning. It was a challenge.
It is more of a challenge than people think, because I mean it's like there's all these little crevices, and I can already see that I got it too short. It should have been more elongated. But these are exactly the kinds of challenges that I need to practice. This is why we do the daily drawings.
I'm going to send it to your messenger.
Send it to my messenger. Okay, I'll take a look at it. I'm sorry, but like I said yesterday, I took a hiatus from the interwebs. I didn't do much of anything yesterday. I tooled around the house, irritated the wife. She loves when I do that, you know. It makes her feel appreciated, looked after. Rick understands, I'm sure. I know my dad understands. He's the one that taught me.
Really good at it. Great teacher.
On the floor of the Great Hall in the Whitehouse, they have the dates of the major renovations marked in there. I wonder if they're going to add the dates of the ballroom that is being constructed right now. If the judges allow them to finish it. But I wonder if they're going to add that in also. Now I have a decision to make about those windows. Do I want to add those features prominently, or do I want to leave them Let's leave them as essence of windows. I think I like them. I think I like them better as essence of window. Yeah, it is a challenge for me to do perspective freehand. If I were really doing this, I'd put my thumb out there and I'd get the scale, and I'd get my ruler and I'd check my angles against everything. But the challenge of this is just to try to do it freehand and try to do it with a certain level of accuracy. And some days you get something that's really great, like a centipede, and other days you see exactly the kind of stuff you need to work on. Maybe I should buy more buildings. Maybe I should go downtown with my watercolor set and just do a different building every weekend. That sounds like a nice challenge. That'd go along with Pamela doing frogs every day. What is today? Today's the 31st of May. Last day of May. Can you believe that? That means we're 6 months into the year. That means 2026 is halfway over. Wow. That's our third drawing in the new book. So, before we go today, I was going to show you the index. I was going to demonstrate the indexing of the other book. So, let me stop this real quick. As you can see, there's my drawing compared to the photograph. And you can see I made it a little chunky. But there it is from my perspective. And it's a little chunky. I made it a little too wide, not nearly long enough. But I don't think the perspective is too far off. I just didn't make the building long enough. So that's stuff we gotta pay attention to when we're doing that kind of thing. I think that's true of my wife as well, Rick. 30 years. She's been with me for 30 years. So if she doesn't like me pestering her, she should have said something before now. Let's see. This is the simplest thing. You just start writing in the numbers. 315. The first number is 315. The last number is 424. So I'm not going to make you sit through the whole process, but 315, Mount Rushmore. 316, Emperor Palpatine's shuttle. I mean, we had some fun times with some of these. When the paper's puffy, it's hard to write neatly on. Like kangaroo at 317. What's everybody got planned to do today? Rick, you're running the sound show at the church, so you guys will be going to church before too long. I don't think my mom and dad are going to church today. I doubt my wife is going to church today because they were still up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching her birthday present.
What's that?
I got her the entire box set of Supernatural. but she hasn't opened it. They just found it on Netflix and started watching it. But her and girl 2 were up until 3 o'clock in the morning. So I doubt they get up anytime soon. I'm tempted to go wake them up now, because they kept me up all night giggling. But I don't want them to not giggle, so. Did you want to see? Probably did you? I didn't know if you wanted to see these or not. But the process is, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I like to end the book with an index, so that it comes in handy, because then it's like, I need a picture of a morpho butterfly. Okay, well, I did that one. Let's look through the index and find out which book it's in. Anyway, we could just flip through the whole book. Sleep, then gaming day. Yeah. What are you going to play today, Ivy? Are you going to play Minecraft, or are you going to play Farmer? Or are you going to play something else? I heard rumors that they're going to come out with a Sims 5. That might be enough to get me to reinstall Sims on my computer. It was more fun. I used to play Sims all the time, back when you could take the ladder away from them and have them drown in the pool.
Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy. Expelliarmus. Wingardia Leviosa. One of my coworkers is playing, just finished that. And she was mad that she finished it when she did. Because it left her with nothing to do for the weekend. I've also, these busts, like this George Washington bust, have convinced me that I need to work on some faces. So I'm trying to figure out if I can commit 10 to 20 minutes a day to doing faces. It's hard. It's hard for me to scrape another 10 minutes.
How did the paper on your new book work?
Once I got past that first page, it was okay.
Okay.
It's better paper than this book. That's why I went back to it. This book, I think I got this book at Walmart, and it's not a bad little sketchbook. It held up. It did everything we wanted it to do. It's just, you can see the paper is all puffy. Where the book that we started today, this is a finished book. This is a finished book of the one we just finished, and this is a finished book of in the style that we got today. You can see that it doesn't have the same. We did everything the same. It just, the pages don't warp as badly in this. The paper, I think the paper is just a little bit better quality, and so that's why I went back to that other. Why I went back to that other style. The puffiness makes it difficult because you're trying to make a straight line, and your page is not compressed. So where were we? We're up to Lake Erie water snake is what we were up to. I don't know if you guys want to see this or not. Lake Erie water snake. And then we had a longma dragon. These are in the coloring book. And then we had capercaillie. I'll finish this later. I'll just do a quick flip through for the rest of it. We had the frilled lizard. We had a dingo. A Canadian goose. American crocodile. Mud puppy, which is different than a salamander, or different than a axolotl. Black and white ruffled faced lemur. Capybara. Wild boar. Ivy, she's been playing it for about a month and a half. Ivy asked if my coworker was sure she was finished because there's lots to collect. She's been playing it for about a month and a half. Here's a three-toed sloth. Black widow. I love this black widow. Girl too said she might get that tattooed on her. I said that'd get her mom to slap her. Your white stork. Canadian lynx. Lowland Street tenrec. I had never heard of a tenrec before I did this drawing, and then all of a sudden my Instagram and Facebook feed was full of tenrecs. I had never heard of one, and then all of a sudden my feed was full of them, and it was before I did anything. I guess I searched Google for a tenrec to get a good image of what a live one looks like, and that was enough to make all of my social media feeds get flooded with tenrecs. I'm still getting them. Satanic leaf gecko, trilobite fossil, red maple tree, which means it's a boy, Franklin Roosevelt, Wells catfish, juniper tree. There's a lot of stuff in here. Darwin's frog, Bruchesia micra, a sea scorpion fossil, which is not actually a scorpion, a chamois, a yellow maple tree, which means it's a girl maple tree, European badger. They just look so polite, like they're ready to serve you tea even though they hate you. Arapaima, surface breathing fish, king trumpet mushroom, Malagasy scorpion, Komodo dragons, yellow banded dart frog, fish fossil, that's a snail. It's a hairy forest snail. Baby velociraptor. American alligator. Malayan horned frog. If you guys want to see one in particular up close, let me know. The NASA ACE suit. A Cape buffalo. Japanese Lucky Charm star tortoise. Verreaux's sifaka. Couldn't read my handwriting. An elm tree. An Australian green tree frog. Some of them I remember very well, and some of them I have to look up what they are. Giant puffball mushroom. That's why I make notes. Ammonite fossil. I have visions of my grandkids, great-grandkids going through these things. A stinkhorn mushroom, and reading the stuff that I wrote down over here if they can still read cursive by then. Jackson's chameleon. They may have to have the AI read it to them. Tomato frog. A Boto Amazon river dolphin. Astronaut jetpack. A hyena. I love that hyena. I really like how that hyena turned out. Texas horned lizard. An eel. A giant anteater. This is not, I wrote it down as an Argentine horned frog. This is not an Argentine horned frog. This is a Suriname frog. But I wrote it down as an Argentine horned frog. There's a giraffe. There's an hibiscus. A power drill. A fossilized frog. An axolotl, which is different than the mud puppy. An African lion. Zimmerman's dart frog. The Hubble Space Telescope. And these things are really random, you know. White rhinoceros. I tell you that I'm drawing random objects in the morning. Kent snail. An orchid. A sequoia tree. A screwdriver. A Cape baboon. The story of him running the switches at the train, totally worth watching. Tulips. An Elasmosaurus. A crescent wrench. Thanks, Ivy. Ivy said the snail was awesome. Saturn V rocket. We're getting close to the end here. A taipan snake. This is an Australian horned frog. This is the Pac-Man frog. This is the Australian horned frog. And I named it the Suriname horned frog. I got those reversed. There's the International Space Station. I like how this one turned out, especially because it's not straight. It's all crooked, like you're looking at it through a fisheye lens. It's a bit of whimsy. Sunflower. Mushrooms. Specifically the Genji mushrooms. A ring-tailed lemur. A Mutsutake mushroom. A baryonyx with his mouth open like he's all bitey. There's the Lincoln Memorial I was telling you about earlier, where I told you some of the lines went astray on me. Like it just happened. Like I didn't do it. The line just did it by itself. No, I did it. Netherland dwarf rabbit. I love this. I absolutely love how this turned out. This is a lightning bug. I absolutely love how this lightning bug turned out. That says lake sturgeon. That's not a lake sturgeon. That's a squirrel monkey. I wonder why I wrote lake sturgeon twice in a row. That's a squirrel monkey. That's a lake sturgeon. Lionhead rabbit. Handsaw. Lions ran amok, Ivy says. This is a Caesar's mushroom. Caesar's mushroom. There's just a run-of-the-mill baboon. There's the Jefferson. This is the Capitol building. There's a cricket. King cobra. The Gemini space capsule. And that's the whole book. And I will spend some time today going through and finish writing all that in so that I can find all that stuff, so that it's easy for me to reference it when I need to. But Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I don't know if that was as exciting as for you as it was for me to go back and flip through those things. I like to go back and see what went into the book, what made the book complete, what we did together. But thank you so much for joining me, Rick and Pamela and Ivy and Joe, Mom and Dad, Lefty the artist. Guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to this every day when I get to art with my besties. I truly do run down the stairs excited to be here. It holds me accountable to my art practice, and it's often the only art I get to do in a day, so I really do appreciate it. Be sure and tune in tomorrow, same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. Oh, wait. I didn't do the reveal. We don't know what we're doing tomorrow, do we? We don't know what we're doing tomorrow. I know what we're doing tomorrow because I've seen it already.
Rick says, well done, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Rick. We're not dancing yet. Let me show you tomorrow's wasp. Look at that little doohickey. It looks like a bee, but it's a wasp. This is part of the Toy Mountie set. So I'll have to go to Toy Montie's website to get the particulars about it, because they don't write on them. They don't mark on them what they are. Safari marks on them what they are. Toy Montie, you have to go to their website and look them up. But this guy actually hunts bees. So we'll talk about that and more fun wasp facts tomorrow while we sketch this little buzzard. Buzzard. Tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So you may want to set your notification bell for that. It might be a yellow jacket. I might have it confused. I thought it was one of those bee hunter wasps, but we'll find out, because, like I said, I have to go to their website and look it up. It's not marked on there, so I can't just figure it out. I have to go to their website and find out what it is. But we'll do that tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So be sure and set your notification bell for that. Tune in same time tomorrow, same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. And then we dance. And we dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because that is how I will know that the lag is caught up to the stream. My back is feeling better, by the way. I seem to have more motility back there. My wrists, my strength is coming back to my wrists, so things are looking up. Or I'm doing really well with some pain drugs. One of the two, not sure. But this gives you a chance to click the clicky thingies this way if you're on the horizontal, or this way if you're on the vertical, so you can watch another fantastic video just like this, say hello and goodbye to each other, ask any questions. And now it is time for me to go. The important thing is that I don't